Jordan had learned to survive family gatherings by becoming invisible. It was easier that way. Slip into the background, let the glitter and noise swirl around, nod at the right moments, endure the smirks, the backhanded compliments. Their relatives thrived on performance. Every dinner was a competition, every toast a chance to flex wealth or status. Tonight wasn't just any gathering, it was the lead-up to the Golden Anniversary Gala, the event their parents had been bragging about for months. The party was set to rival a corporate launch, augmented reality decor, drone-served champagne, a live stream projected onto the global social feed. Nothing about it was subtle, nothing about it was cheap. And Jordan's credit card had just paid for a third of it. They stared at the transaction logs flickering across their lens display, scrolling past invoices tagged to their ID, Crystal Sphere Caterers, 27,800 credits, Chateau Lumiere Wines, 15,200 credits, Neon Bloom, Floral AI, 9,450 credits. Each number sank like a stone in their chest. Their parents hadn't asked, hadn't warned, just linked their card as if Jordan's account were a family resource to be tapped whenever appearances required it. Jordan closed the display with a blink. The familiar grey walls of their studio came back into focus. Sparse furniture, shelves crowded with tools and prototype parts, a single plant struggling in the filtered city light. It wasn't glamorous, but it was theirs. Every credit was supposed to be fueling the startup, the product that had quietly taken shape under their hands for 3 years. Now 30,000 credits were gone. They exhaled, slow and steady, tamping down the flare of panic. A fight was inevitable, but not tonight. The next morning, Jordan walked into the family penthouse like a soldier entering enemy territory. The place always reeked of excess. Polished chrome floors, holographic waterfalls shimmering against the glass walls, designer scents diffused through the air vents, screens embedded in the walls cycled endlessly through curated family moments, vacations, ribbon cuttings, luxury dinners, each tagged with glowing approval ratings from the global feed. Jordan had once counted how many times they appeared in the montage, 3 in hundreds of clips. Always in the background, always blurred. Their mother swept into the room as though she owned not just the apartment, but the city skyline beyond it. A shimmer suit shifted colours with each step, broadcasting her mood in jewel tones. She kissed the air near Jordan's cheek. "Darling," she said, voice as smooth as filtered water. "You're early. What a surprise." Jordan kept their expression neutral. "We need to talk about the charges on my account." Her smile didn't falter, but a flicker of irritation crossed her eyes. "Oh, that. Yes, your father and I had to make a few quick adjustments. Vendors demand prepayment these days. It was simpler to use your line. We'll sort it out after the gala." "Sort it out," Jordan repeated. "You spent over 50,000 credits without asking." "Don't exaggerate." She waved a hand, rings glinting with embedded microgems. "It's an investment in legacy. Everyone important will be there. It reflects on the whole family." Jordan's jaw tightened. "And my work? My life? That doesn't matter?" Her gaze softened. Patronizing, not kind. "You'll understand one day when you've achieved something worth showcasing. Until then, support the family. That's your role." The rest of the household buzzed like a hive preparing for coronation. Servebots rolled past carrying garment cases. A stylist drone zipped by, misting fabric with scent algorithms. Jordan's sister, Cassandra, emerged from her room with her usual poise. At 31, she was the family's crown jewel, corporate attorney for a high-profile AI conglomerate polished down to the micron. Her suit flickered with live feed notifications of cases she had won, headlines scrolling proudly across her lapels. "Jordan," she said, as though addressing an intern, "you're actually here, good. I was beginning to think you'd vanish again and embarrass us." Jordan crossed their arms. "You mean like you did when you screamed at a drone waiter last New Year?" Cassandra's smile was perfect, sharp enough to cut glass. That clip was taken out of context, and you know it. The point is, appearances matter. Tonight matters. Our parents need us unified. She looked Jordan up and down, taking in the plain jacket, the scuffed boots. Maybe ask the wardrobe AI to help you before you show up. We don't want guests thinking we have stragglers. Jordan felt the sting, but they kept their tone even. I'll manage. Cassandra leaned closer, lowering her voice. Do more than manage. This gala isn't just for them, it's networking. Investors, clients, government officials, everyone will be watching. Jordan almost laughed. If only you knew who's been watching me already. The family meeting began in the glass atrium, with panoramic views of the skyline. Their father presided at the head of the long table, a tablet glowing in front of him. He wore authority like armor, every gesture measured, every word calculated for effect. As you all know, he began, this gala will be the defining event of the season. Our family must present strength, unity, and success. Jordan sat at the far end, deliberately silent. Cousins chimed in with updates. One had closed a major investment deal, another had purchased a floating villa. Cassandra outlined her firm's latest victory. Each announcement was greeted with nods, applause, a touch of envy. Then eyes turned toward Jordan. And you, their father asked, what progress have you made? Jordan's mind flashed with the truth, the growing user base of their platform, the investors circling discreetly, the prototype contracts waiting to be signed. But to reveal it now, here, would be to surrender control. They forced a casual shrug. Same as before, quiet work, nothing flashy. A ripple of dismissive laughter travelled the table. Cassandra shook her head as if disappointed but unsurprised. Their mother sighed. Father tapped his tablet, moving on. Jordan sat still, their pulse steady. Let them think what they wanted. The more invisible they appeared, the sharper the reveal would cut. Later, as the atrium emptied, Jordan lingered near the balcony. The city stretched below, layers of neon, streams of hover traffic, advertising drones buzzing with endless pitches. A world screaming for attention, for spectacle. Behind them, a voice spoke, low and amused. Rough crowd. Jordan turned. A woman leaned against the glass column, holding a half-empty champagne glass. Not a relative, too composed, too self-aware. Her dress shimmered with understated elegance, no scrolling headlines, no wealth projections. Just fabric, cut perfectly. You're not family, Jordan said. Thank God, she replied. I'm Elena, friend of your cousin's date, got dragged here as a +1, and you? Reluctant offspring, she smiled, eyes sparking. Thought so, you don't fit the script. Jordan almost smiled back. What gave me away? You're the only one here not trying to sell yourself. Jordan's chest warmed despite themselves. It had been a long time since someone saw past the surface so quickly. They tilted their glass toward hers. Maybe I just have nothing worth selling. Her grin was slow, knowing. Somehow, I doubt that. The evening stretched on, preparations and planning meetings blending together, the weight of humiliation pressing harder with every dismissive remark, every condescending glance. Jordan kept their mask in place, endured, observed. The secret pulsed beneath their calm exterior. Their startup wasn't just stable, it was on the verge of exploding. Contracts were lined up with off-world colonies, partnerships with major biotech firms. In a week, maybe 2, their name would be unavoidable. For now, they let the family believe in the fiction of their failure. Let them laugh. Let them spend their credits and preen before their mirrors. Revenge didn't need to be violent, it just needed to be timed. And when the gala lights burned brightest, Jordan would flip the switch. The banquet hall glowed like a starship interior. Light refracted through suspended crystal prisms, scattering across the vast ceiling where drones floated in formation, programmed to mimic constellations. Hollow screens projected a curated reel of the parents' 50 years together. Glamorous vacations, staged candid laughter, ribbon-cutting ceremonies at luxury developments. Jordan adjusted their collar, plain black fabric, unadorned, the only outfit in the room without scrolling overlays of wealth metrics or achievements. Everyone else shimmered with bio-projected branding. Cassandra's lapel ticker scrolled through her most recent legal victories. Their cousins' suits displayed fluctuating stock portfolios in real time, numbers rising and falling like heartbeats. Jordan's outfit displayed nothing. Silence, in a room obsessed with spectacle, was louder than any projection. They walked through whispers. Didn't realize they even showed up. Still pretending poverty is chic. Maybe they're a minimalist influencer now? God forbid. Jordan let the words skim past, expression unreadable. Inside, their pulse hammered, but not with shame, with anticipation. The dining table stretched long as a shuttle runway. Crystal plates shimmered with embedded circuitry that recalibrated temperature at a guest's touch. Champagne flutes refilled themselves when tilted past empty. The scent of engineered roses and slow-cooked protein hung in the air, warm and cloying. Jordan found their name glowing on a placard. Jordan, Child 2. Not even a profession tagged beneath, unlike everyone else. Just an identifier, as if they were an unremarkable asset catalogued in a family ledger. They sat. And to their surprise, at their right, Elena. Her dress was midnight silk, unenhanced by AR overlays. No projections, no tags, just fabric and presence. She was real in a room built on simulation. She glanced sideways, lips curling. So, are you the family's black sheep or just too cool for matching tuxedos? Jordan's mouth twitched. They leaned closer, speaking low enough that the AI mics embedded in the table couldn't easily pick it up. Depends who you ask. Some think I'm the charity case, but funny thing about this party, they raised their glass. I might be its biggest investor. She studied them, a spark of amusement in her eyes. She believed the joke and didn't, which was perfect. She clinked her glass against theirs with deliberate flair. Ladies and gentlemen, she said, lifting her voice so it carried across the polished table. A toast to Jordan, the mysterious sponsor of tonight's extravaganza. Forks paused mid-air. Conversations stuttered. Aunts laughed politely, assuming humour. Cassandra's eyebrow arched. The parents froze, smiles plastered. Jordan leaned back, relaxed. She's not wrong. Check the receipts. They're on my card. Gasps rippled down the table like a current. Their mother's wineglass trembled slightly before she set it down with a too bright smile. Oh, darling, such wit, always with the dry humour. But Jordan didn't blink. Not a joke. Cousin Lucas, finance wunderkind, perpetually smug, snorted. Yeah, right. You, afford this circus, please. That would require actual income. Jordan pulled their phone from their jacket pocket, a rare move in this family where everyone preferred wrist implants or ocular feeds. They tapped the screen, let it glow bright enough for the nearest dozen to see. A headline shone across it. Underdog startup set to reshape off-world supply chains. Beneath, a profile photo unmistakably of Jordan, looking sharper than tonight, framed by data charts and glowing reviews. Jordan swiped again. Bank figures, blurred at the decimals but with enough zeros visible to silence any doubt. The table buzzed with murmurs. Guests leaned in. Someone's projection AI flickered with a headline update. Is this Jordan's company? Already, feeds were scraping the net. Lucas choked on his champagne. Cassandra's lips parted, then closed, her jaw tightening. Their father's face flushed red, caught between humiliation and calculation. Their mother pressed her fingers together as if in prayer. Eleanor sipped her drink, watching Jordan with unmasked amusement. Impressive, said Uncle Raymond finally, voice strained. If true, Jordan pocketed the phone. It is. A hush stretched. Cassandra broke it with a laugh, practiced and sharp. Congratulations, sibling. Finally found something to do besides sulk in your studio. Well done. The compliment landed like a blade. Jordan smiled politely. Thanks, though technically I did it while sulking in my studio. Eleanor snorted, covering it with her glass. The tension cracked. A few guests chuckled, some with genuine delight, others with envy. But beneath the laughter, currents shifted. Eyes appraised Jordan differently now, not as the invisible sibling, but as a variable unaccounted for. Dinner resumed, but the balance had tilted. Snide comments slipped less easily now. Conversations angled toward Jordan, curious, probing. So, what exactly does your company do? Asked an aunt with a dripping diamond necklace. Logistics, Jordan said simply. Not flashy, just efficient. That's underselling, Elena murmured, low enough for only Jordan. Jordan gave her a sidelong glance. You caught that? Please. You don't carry yourself like someone stumbling into luck. You're holding cards. Jordan let the corner of their mouth lift. Maybe. She leaned in, her shoulder brushing theirs lightly. The touch was accidental, or maybe not. I like people who play their hand close. Heat sparked along Jordan's skin. They refilled their glass just to have something to do with their hands. The cousins regrouped, sensing threat. Lucas launched into a story about his most recent market coup, voice booming, numbers inflated. Cassandra recounted a high-profile case, weaving herself as hero. The table AI projected live images as she spoke. Her face rendered larger than life on the hovering display. All performance, all branding. Jordan watched, sipping slowly, their earlier fury cooling into something steadier. This was the game. Status, inflated and performed. And for the first time, they weren't the target. They were the disruption. Eleanor caught their gaze. She tilted her glass toward the performance screen, then rolled her eyes, subtle but devastating. Jordan stifled a laugh. Later, during dessert, a genetically engineered fruit that glowed faintly from within, conversation turned back to Jordan. So modest, their mother cooed, her smile too tight. Of course, we always believed you'd contribute eventually. Jordan met her gaze evenly. Funny, that's not how I remember it. Her fork paused mid-air. What do you mean? Jordan gestured around them, at the chandeliers, the drone servers, the endless stream of champagne. This gala exists on my account, not just metaphorically. The silence was immediate and deep. Their father cleared his throat. Enough. His voice carried command. We won't air private matters in public. Jordan raised a brow. You made it public when you spent my money to host it. Gasps again, sharper this time. Some guests exchanged looks, delighted at scandal, thrilled by drama that wasn't theirs. Eleanor leaned closer, whispering near Jordan's ear. You're enjoying this. Jordan's lips barely moved. More than I expected. Cousin Lucas couldn't resist. If you really had control, you'd flaunt it. That's what success is for. Jordan tilted their head, calm. Maybe success is knowing you don't need to flaunt it. It was a simple sentence, but it landed like a detonator. In a society built on projection, silence, confidence without performance was the loudest rebellion. Eleanor's eyes gleamed. As the dinner wound down, the parents attempted to reclaim dignity with speeches. Their father praised unity, their mother waxed poetic about legacy. The words rang hollow against the memory of Jordan's revelation. Jordan raised their glass at the end, voice steady. To family, whatever that means. The guests laughed, clapped, some nervously, some sincerely. The parents forced smiles. Cassandra's eyes burned, and Jordan sat back, pulse steady now, Eleanor's shoulder brushing theirs again, heat lingering. The game had changed, and everyone knew it. The chandelier drones dimmed, signaling the final round of speeches. Dessert plates shimmered with dissolving holograms, miniature fireworks bursting above candied fruit. The family's curated history looped again across the wall-size display, their parents in younger days, surrounded by friends and wealth. Jordan barely touched their plate. Their pulse slowed, steady now. No more hiding, no more swallowing humiliation until it curdled inside them. They had waited years for this moment, though they hadn't known it until tonight. They glanced sideways. Eleanor was watching, not the spectacle, but Jordan. Her chin rested lightly against her hand, lips curved in that sly, amused way. She tilted her head as if to say, "Now's your move." Jordan picked up their glass. Their voice carried clear, cutting through the chatter. "Since this party was technically on me," they began, raising the glass, "I'd like to propose a toast." The table stilled. Conversations froze mid-word. Cassandra's eyes narrowed. Parents' smiles flickered. Guests leaned in. Jordan let the silence linger, then continued, steady. "Not to chandeliers. Not to champagne towers. Not to vanity metrics or projections that fade the second you blink. I'd like to toast to what actually lasts: love, loyalty, and people who don't need to prove their worth through price tags." For a heartbeat, the words hung, suspended. Then applause broke out, scattered at first, then swelling. Not polite claps, but genuine, almost relieved. Some guests laughed in delight, others clapped harder than necessary, their eyes flicking at the parents with subtle mockery. Cassandra's fork clattered against her plate. Lucas muttered something under his breath, face sour. But Eleanor beamed at Jordan, her eyes bright, admiration unhidden. Jordan sat, setting the glass down with deliberate calm. The revenge wasn't loud, it wasn't messy. It was sharp, precise, and utterly stylish. The ripple spread fast. Guests leaned toward each other, whispering. For years, Jordan had been the invisible one, the underachiever, the background figure in family reels. Tonight, they had flipped the narrative in one clean strike, and the family couldn't undo it. The parents' smiles stiffened, strained. Their father raised his glass belatedly. "Yes, well said. To family, then." "To family," echoed voices, some earnest, some mocking. Jordan let the toast settle, then leaned back, unbothered. Inside, adrenaline coursed, but outwardly they radiated calm. For the first time, they controlled the room. As the dinner wound down, guests began drifting toward the terrace for after-drinks. Cassandra cornered Jordan near the dessert table, voice low and sharp. "Was that necessary?" Jordan met her gaze. "Necessary? Number honest? Yes. You embarrassed them. They embarrassed themselves." Her jaw clenched. "You think one startup makes you superior?" Jordan smiled faintly. "Number, but it makes me free." She faltered, lips parting, then shut them again. No retort came. Eleanor appeared at Jordan's side then, as though summoned. She slipped a glass into their hand. "You handled that beautifully." Jordan raised a brow. "You think so?" Half the room looked ready to set me on fire. Half the room was jealous. The other half wished they had the guts to say it first. She leaned in closer, voice low. "And maybe a few are reconsidering their investments." Jordan smirked despite themselves. "Practical and flattering. Dangerous combination." Her laugh was quiet, intimate. On the balcony, the city stretched below like circuitry glowing in the night. Drones zipped between towers. Hollow ads bathed the skyline in restless color. Guests milled behind them, clinking glasses, their laughter brittle. Jordan leaned against the railing, letting the cool air steady them. Eleanor joined, her shoulder brushing theirs. The touch lingered. "You waited," she said softly. Jordan tilted their head. "For what?" "For the exact right moment to drop the blade. Not flashy, not cruel, just precise." Jordan exhaled, eyes on the skyline. "Violence isn't the point. I wanted them to hear me, and to know I don't play their game anymore." She studied them, lips curving. "That's power, real power, not these projections and feeds." She gestured toward the hall. "You didn't need holograms to win the night." Jordan glanced at her, meeting her gaze. Heat stirred low in their chest. The air between them was charged, not melodramatic, not overblown, just electric in its quiet certainty. For a moment, neither spoke. Inside, the parents approached, their smiles brittle. Their mother's voice was soft, but every syllable forced. "Jordan, darling, that was quite the display. May we have a word?" Jordan straightened, following them a few paces into the corner of the hall. Their father folded his arms. "You humiliated us." "No," Jordan said calmly. "You humiliated yourselves when you stole from me." His jaw tightened. Their mother reached out, her rings catching the light. "We were desperate. The vendors demanded prepayment. We thought—" "You thought I wouldn't notice," Jordan cut in. Silence. Finally, their father said, "We'll return it." "Of course, after the gala." "No," Jordan said. "You'll return it now, full repayment, and this is the last time you use me as a safety net." Their mother's eyes shimmered with guilt or fear of losing face. "Jordan," Jordan held her gaze, steady. "I mean it." The weight of their words landed. For the first time, their parents looked smaller. When Jordan returned to the balcony, Eleanor raised her brows in silent question. "Boundaries," Jordan said simply. She smiled. "About time." They stood together as the city lights pulsed below. Guests drifted away, laughter fading. The gala's grandeur softened into memory. Eleanor tilted her head, hair brushing Jordan's shoulder. "You know, you could have destroyed them tonight." Jordan considered. "I didn't need to. They'll destroy themselves, chasing illusions. I just chose not to follow." Her gaze lingered. "That's why I like you." The words hung between them, unforced, warm. Jordan felt the corner of their mouth lift. They clinked glasses again, softer this time, just for themselves. The party raged behind them, but out here it felt like the beginning of something else. Something quiet, authentic, and unshakably theirs. Jordan standing against the glow of the skyline, Eleanor by their side, the whispers of envy and admiration still echoing inside the hall. For the first time, Jordan wasn't invisible. They didn't need to be loud. The table had turned. And they had done it without violence, without spectacle. Just truth, timing, and the kind of value no feed could measure.